Hi, everybody. I'm Dan McTeague. I'm President Canadians for Affordable Energy. We're getting a lot of interest in obviously the price of energy, but not so much. And there seems to be some mystery as to the federal government and other governments' involvement, especially as it relates to carbon taxes in driving up the price of energy. Just so people understand, the federal government has already put in place, and it applies to most provinces, with the exception of Quebec, British Columbia, for now, Nova Scotia, but all other provinces are subject to the carbon levy. That carbon levy stands at about 11 cents a liter. That's before HST across much of the country. And of course, for diesel, the price is a lot closer to 14.5 cents a liter prior to GST, HST. But that's really where this story begins, because while some are arguing that, oh, it's all rebated, you get your money back, the parliamentary budget officer made it abundantly clear last spring that for every dollar you think you're paying out, that you're somehow getting back, it actually, for most Canadians, falls well short, and it is going to get worse in times to come. What has been a big issue, and I'm getting a lot of commentary on this, certainly in my media contacts and interviews in the Maritimes, is just how damaging the carbon tax costs, the levy at 14.5 cents a liter. Remember, as I said, 14.5 plus HST, so it works out to almost 16.5 cents a liter. How that is not helping those trying to make ends meet in an environment where energy prices are going up, especially heating oil, stove oil, furnace oil. Now you're going to think, well, there's nothing of this, but that's really based on diesel prices. Diesel is the fuel that the world wants more of, and it's unlikely that the world is going to be able to supply enough to get around. So short of talking about the actual costs, we're probably going to have governments in this country have a serious discussion about how they're going to manage such a scarce supply. We've seen refineries close down, and they didn't just close down because of the economics. They closed down because governments are saying, we don't want you back in business. We're going to get rid of all internal combustion engines by 2030 or 2035. So who in their right mind is going to go invest in something that the government is saying will come to an end? Reality, however, is pointing in a very different direction. More people want more internal combustion engines. They're efficient. They get better mileage. When you look at the total life cycle of these vehicles, from the time they're put into production to the time in which they are recycled, they're miles ahead of electric vehicles. And they don't come with the kind of odd attachments, such as the batteries being made in shady places like China, or worse, the exploitation of children in the Democratic Republic of Congo. I'll leave that to the side, and hopefully maybe that's a moral issue that EV enthusiasts would like to discuss on their own. But for now, I'm more concerned, and Canadians for Affordable Energy, we're much more concerned about the damaging impact of the carbon taxes. Now, we've talked about the fact that this I'm looking at light fuel at starting in December, in April 1st, going up another 4.5 cents a liter. It'll then, over the course of the next 5-6 years, go to 45.5 times 15%. So another, if you will, another 35 cents a liter. That's for heating oil. That's the stuff that maintains your ability to, keep yourself warm during winters. And you can imagine in maritime provinces, Newfoundland in particular, why so many people are up in arms about the real impact of this carbon tax, which is, as I mentioned earlier, and the parliamentary budget officer has pointed out, will not be completely rebated. In fact, you'll lose far more than you think. Not surprising that the Conservatives had a motion in the House of Commons to at least force the government or consider removing that carbon tax to help people when it came to heating oil. The NDP, the Greens, and the Bloc and the Liberals decided they don't care. So I think it's really come to crunch time. I'm going to put my political cap back on, because I served 18 years as a Liberal member of Parliament, held the consumer file, energy file for the Liberals, and they know that. It seems to me that they are completely misreading their constituents and the public. Hats off, by the way, to the Liberal member of Parliament who broke ranks to join the Conservative motion, because it's the right, appropriate Canadian thing to do. But to somehow suggest that you should punish people in Newfoundland because of a hurricane or because of a forest fire is simply, disconnected from reality. It's a dystopian view of the world that I think our federal Liberal NDP Bloc politicians, and Green to the extent that there are only one or two, are completely detached from reality. It's time for consumers and for people of good character to come forward and challenge their members of Parliament on this very bizarre narrative that says somehow trying to stay warm, trying to eat, and trying to make ends meet is somehow against a good Mother Earth. At the end of the day, we're doing far more in this country. We are a cleaner country than we have ever been. We are a solution to the world. It's time for these woke politicians to wake up or be shown the door.